So in this first clip, I can be seen leaving on April 22nd at approximately 6:52 a.m. and by the time the garage door is down, the time switches to 6:53 a.m. I travel about 0.62 miles to the stoplight on Cedros and Nordhoff. Here is also a clip that you can see from the location A to B where my vehicle started and to where it ended right before the intersection on Nordhoff. Coming into this next clip, I want to point out exactly where my vehicle was stopped by the sensor which triggers the light for the Cedros and Nordhoff intersection. Okay, so right there on the ground, there is a little circle which triggers the light, and I want you to really pay attention to how far back from the intersection that I was before my vehicle could proceed into the intersection to try to make a left-hand turn. So on this next clip, this shows the pre-crash information up to 5 seconds before the accident actually took place. And this is important because it shows you that my vehicle was stopped at the red light prior to me accelerating into the intersection. This is very, very important. I really want you to take a good look at this. Simply because at 5 seconds before the accident, my vehicle was completely stopped. It would make no sense for me to be stopped if I'm not stopped at a red light, specifically at that intersection, trying to make a left-hand turn. When I proceeded into that intersection, you can see the actual acceleration rate in which my vehicle was going when I tried to make my left-hand turn. I never officially got to make the left-hand turn, but only to get far enough into the intersection before my vehicle was impacted by the other driver directly in the middle of my car. Not the tip of the car, not the ending of the car, but directly in the middle of my car. So that means he had possibility of a chance to see me coming into the intersection and still did not stop. And it's important to recognize my point of view before I proceeded into the intersection. I want to let you look to my left. When you look to my left and I walk all the way down in this red zone so you can see my point of view when there are no cars that are allowed to park along this whole entire red zone sidewalk. This is my point of view. The entire time that I was waiting at the red light, there was nobody in view. There was nobody in sight. At least from what I can see, this entire length of the red line, of the red no parking line. And I just want to give you a point of view. If he is in that second lane from the red line, the outermost lane from the red line, there's absolutely no way that he should have not seen my vehicle, given that it was already in the intersection, well in the intersection, before he was even in view. And if he was coming from Willis Street, which is the very next street over, from Willis to Cedros, going that fast to total out my vehicle, that's a clear indication that he was beyond speeding. Beyond speeding. So I want to show the metadata from the very first picture that was taken immediately after the accident. So it's safe to say this accident officially occurred in the 55th minute of the 6-hour block at 6:55 a.m. And I want to show this and make this so important because from my last destination, leaving at 6:52 and up until 6:55, which is a 3-minute time difference, there is no way that he can insist that I ran a red light when I actually had to wait at a red light. Had I never had a red light, I would have never came in contact with his vehicle. Because I was there so much earlier at the red light before this happened at 6:55 a.m. My vehicle was already present at that red light before this took place at exactly 6:55 a.m. This man could have ended my life. And there are too many timestamps that I am providing that are factual that shows that I was already present at that light before this man even came in anywhere into view. I was already present waiting at that red light. There was no one in view. When you look to my left hand side, all you see is that red zone where there were no cars. There were no cars. But yet when my light turned green and I proceeded into the intersection, this man comes and tries to blow through the intersection, impacting my car, totaling my vehicle out, attempting to almost end my life. I'm asking you to look at the facts. We don't have video to say he didn't run a red light, but there's enough data, information that it can be provided to sincerely indicate that he was the cause of this accident. And the very last note that I want to add to this is if you look at the position of my vehicle after it was impacted by the other driver's car, I never got to make my left-hand turn. The left-hand turn was never officially made. I never got to make my left-hand turn. My vehicle was turned 180 degrees simply because the impact of the car from the other vehicle. I never got to make the left-hand turn.